Mexico, Paradises. Royal Service Treatment in Cancun, Mexico. That the qualification for that ended at the end of last month, and I want to congratulate here publicly all of you that went out and got it done. All of you that are going to be attending. It's going to be an incredible, incredible trip, incredible time. This is just the first class, world class resort. We're excited to be able to bring you here for this all expense paid retreat for the people who actually qualified for this through our incentive program. And for those of you who didn't qualify, I know you might be a little jealous, right? Some of you are saying, well, maybe I got in the company just a little bit too late, but that's okay. I mean, we've got another incentive trip we're going to be launching here shortly. So you'll have a chance to go out and get it done and maybe even get some advice from the people who got it done for this trip about what it was that they did to make sure they were able to attend. But guys, we're excited because we've got a wide variety of distributors who are going to be attending. We've got some people who've been here since the very beginning of Alphay North America and just went out and got it done. And then we've got some brand new distributors who kind of just came in and said, listen, that's something I want to do. That's a place I want to be. And they went out and did the activity as well. So we got the entire range here, and we're excited about that because we've got that complete representation. So guys, this is going to be amazing. And again, if you didn't make it on the trip, guys, still be excited for the people that are going to be there. They're going to come back with some great memories, also some great training and some great social media material. But also, again, we're going to be launching here. So keep your ear to the ground because very soon we're going to be launching another incentive trip that you can qualify for here. So again, we're going to give you the opportunity once again for you to be with us in another exotic locale in recognition of your efforts that you've put towards helping to build Alpha and really helping to deliver this message of Alpha and help spreading it across North America. So again, congratulations again, guys, and looking forward to seeing you there in Mexico. Now, is this the big question? And you guys have noticed, and I'm sure you've seen in some of our newsletters, we've had little trainings that we've kind of sent out, how to put together a financial game plan. Is this a pyramid scheme? Really, how do you answer that question when people come up? And what we've been doing is, we're kind of taking up polls. I talk to distributors every single day. In the company, as does customer service, as does Diego and several of the other leaders here. And we get these questions all the time. And what we do is we try to figure out what are the questions we're getting most, what are the conversations we're having over and over and over again, and then we put together these little training vignettes and we release them out to the field so they can kind of help you in your progress and help you move forward. But this question that we're going to go through right now, we're going to end this call off with, is the biggest question that we get. I'm sure you've asked it, no matter who you are, no matter how long you've been in Alpha, no matter how successful you've been or not been, you've asked this question before. And most people in network marketing ask this question every single time. And what really kind of sparked me to put together this little training piece is, before I worked at Alpha, a lot of I was not just doing consulting for the industry, but I was also a coach. Where people would actually come to me who were in network marketing and looking to get a breakthrough, and they weren't able to have their breakthrough, and they would actually hire me to coach them. And I'll tell you, it's funny because a guy that I coached a couple years ago, he had joined 6 companies in the prior year and a half, and he kind of hired me to actually coach him. And he said, "Listen, I'm just trying to figure out what I need to do to have my breakthrough and go to the next level." And I did this training for him. Now I'm going to do it in 10 minutes here. What I probably did for him over a period of weeks, but I'm going to do just 10 minutes and just kind of very very high level to give you guys a concept here. But ultimately, we did that, and it was life changing for him as a breakthrough. And he just called me recently, and he's excited because from July 1st of last year through June, I guess the 30th of 2016, he actually had his first 7 figures that he ever earned in a 12-month period. And he kind of called me up to basically tell me that and tell me that he credited to the breakthrough that he was able to make through this concept. So I wanted to share that with you. And again, if you're on, you have a pen and a piece of paper, take some notes because, again, this is a big concept. But if you get it, for those of you that get it, it's going to make a big difference in your business. If you don't get it, well, you're going to have to hear it again maybe 3 months from now when you're ready to get it. But so here we go. So the big question, and this is the question that every single person in the industry is asked at some point in time, which is how do I make more money? Obviously, in Alpha, it's how do I make more money in Alpha. And people have asked this question over and over and over again. I've been on the phone with people, and it's just, how do I make more money in Alpha? How do I make more money in Alpha? Customer service. I'm saying, what's the question you're getting? How do we make more money? How do we make more money? The question has come up over and over and over again, and I'm going to give you guys the answer. But then I'm going to really give you the answer. So, how do you make more money in Alpha? Here, surprise, 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 right? Build a bigger team. And I know a lot of you are saying, I already knew that. You know what I mean? I mean that's no real surprise or shock to my system. I already knew build a bigger team. But you'd be amazed how many people that we've talked to as a company who don't know that. Who they think that the way to make more money in Alpha is to understand the science of the mushroom better, or to really be able to explain polysaccharides better, or explain medicinal mushrooms better, or to really be able to talk more about the infrastructure of the company, and the fact that we have a 21-acre business campus, and they think that that is what is ultimately gonna make them more money in Alpha, and they're not really making the connection that what network marketing is really truly all about is distribution. So the way that I want to drill this in your head forever, for anybody who is on the fence, you don't quite get this concept, is simply this. When all the executives get together for McDonald's, the franchise, the burger franchise, and they say, the question comes up, how do we move more burgers? The answer is always the same. And the answer is not by making the burgers taste better. That's not the answer. The answer is not, maybe we should try a different type of bread. The answer is always the same. If you want to move more burgers, you need to open up more stores. In other words, if you want to move more burgers, you need more burger movers. It's not rocket science. And in no shape or form is it rocket science. The same thing is with mushrooms. If you want to move more mushrooms, and you do want to move more mushrooms, by the way, guys, because we only get paid when mushrooms move. If you want to move more mushrooms, you got to have more mushroom movers. It's that simple, right? That simple. Let's not overcomplicate this. So again, if you want to make more money in Alpha, you have to build a bigger team. Now, again, probably the most of you that are on this call right now, you already knew this. You said, I already know that. I know I got to build a bigger team. If I want to make more money, I got to get a bigger team. Some of you didn't, but hopefully now everybody's on the same page. So that's pretty easy though. People don't have a problem grasping that concept. Here's where the problem comes in. And this is what I did for a long time in coaching. And this is what I like to do with you guys this evening, which is ask you a simple question. What is the number one factor preventing you from building a bigger team? And I'm telling you, my experience has been not just in Alpha, it's been consistent in Alpha, but it's also consistent before Alpha. With all the people that I've coached and all the people I've mentored and all the people I've trained throughout this industry, is when I ask this question, what is the number one factor preventing you from building a bigger team? 95+%. So we're just going to make it an even 95% for ease of math. But more than 95% of the people answer this question exactly the same and answer this question completely wrong. And I'm sure right now, as I'm asking this question, everybody's got all these reasons going on in their brain. Man, you know what? We need more tools. We need more products. We need a better website. My upline is horrible. They don't respect me and they're not there for me. My downline is the laziest group of people on the face of the planet. All I do is recruit and recruit and recruit. They say they're going to do everything and they don't do anything, and therefore I can't build a bigger team because it's just me. Everybody's got a million and one reasons. And the funny thing to me is that that's 95% of the people. And as long as that is your deal, as long as that is your deal, you're never going to have the breakthrough that you want. And I'm just being honest, and I'm not being harsh. I'm being completely honest with you. And I'm talking from experience. I remember, my career in this industry, I got to about, in the very beginning, to about 50, 60 grand a year. And I could not get beyond that. I just could not break or really punch through that wall. I had, maybe go up to a $70,000, $80,000 pace, but then come back down to $50,000 pace. I just couldn't click over six figures and then multiple six figures and et cetera, et cetera. I just couldn't do it. And I remember asking my mentor, what's the deal? What's going on? And he told me, and what he told me is what I'm going to share with you guys right now about this. That the number one factor preventing you from building a bigger team is this. It's the you factor, and it's a big deal, and I want to just, again, some people, they get this right away. Some people unfortunately get offended by this, because they think that you're being blamed or accused or ridiculed, or someone's criticizing you and saying you're not good enough. That's not it at all. In fact, let me give you a perfect example. I've had people say, well, I saw this video that this other company has. And how come we don't have a video like this? If we had a video like this, we'd be killing it. We'd be making lots of money. I said, that's great. Let's look at the other company. They've got that video, right? And you could probably point to a couple people in that company that are doing really, really well, that are making, 50 grand a month, 60 grand a month, maybe even 100 grand a month. But then if for every person that you could point to that's making that kind of money, you could point to tens of thousands of people that are making zero, who've been in the company longer than the person making 50 or 60 grand a month. So how can the video really be the difference? Right? How can the social media presence really be the difference? How can the product, guys? I'll tell you, there's companies right now with crappy products. I can't even say they're decent products. I mean, I'm got to be honest. They got crappy products that if you stack them up next to Alphay's products, they would be embarrassed, right? But they've got people making big money in those companies, right? Regardless of what the product is. There's companies with horrible compensation plans, but they've got people making big money in those companies regardless of what the compensation plan is or the opportunity is. Ultimately, the difference is always the you factor. It's a big deal. And the biggest reason why it's a big deal is because as long as you believe that you can't be successful until the website changes, or the product line increases, or the compensation plan shifts, or your upline provides something different for you, or is nicer to you, or understand they get you. As long as you believe it as those things, you basically have no power at all to basically change your business. No, none at all. It's not until you say, hey, you know what? I can thrive in any environment. I just got to know the rules. I just need to understand the layout and the setup. It's not until you do that that you take personal responsibility, that then it doesn't matter about any of that stuff. Because then you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the thing that I need to do, and it's going to all be based off of me. And ultimately, I'm going to go out and accomplish the business. And this is why this is critical, guys. Because in this new environment in network marketing, there are so many opportunities out there, not just nationally now, but internationally. Because through the internet, people can sign up for companies that aren't even in this country. That no longer are people just saying, hey, why network marketing or why Alphay? Or they're saying why network marketing, why Alphay, and then, oh, by the way, why you? What can you do for me? Okay, even if I like network marketing, even if I'm convinced that Alpha is the company, why do I want to sign up with you? And the question I always ask people is, would you want to be sponsored by you? And before everybody just jumps right out and says, absolutely, I'm the greatest sponsor in the world, I want you to really think about that. Would you really want to be sponsored by you? If you could be sponsored by anybody, would you really want to be sponsored by you? Now, I know there's probably a handful of people right now who absolutely, positively would say, absolutely, I want to be signed up by me. But I know there's a whole bunch of other people that are starting to think about this right now, and you're starting to wonder, what is it that, would you really want to be sponsored by you? Are you the type of person that's going to provide all this unlimited support? You're the type of person that's going to really teach someone a systemic way to build the business. You're the type of person that's going to always be positive, that's going to keep people lasered in and focused in, even when it's hard. Okay, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. Are you the type of person, again, are you that type of person? Because that is the type of person who's going to be able to build a big team. And again, I'm talking about people who want to go out there and make big money right now. But if you just want to make little money, just kind of, reduce some of my statements a little bit, about what you need to do. But understand what we're talking about here is if people want to make big money, you're going to have to go out there and really do some cool things. Okay. So you're going to build a big team. So why network marketing? Why Alpha? Why you? So here's the deal with the you factor. And I just want to just hit on these 5 things really, really quickly, and then we're going to be done. But I promise you, the people who get this, this is going to absolutely revolutionize your business. So number 1, how good are you? And I want you to rate yourself maybe on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being I'm horrible, 10 being I'm the greatest in the world, 5 being I'm somewhere in between that. But how good are you at goal setting? Not just for yourself, but with your team. And in there where it says MBS, that's the Mutual Benefit Society, okay? And the reason why I put Mutual Benefit Society in there, because that's the only goal setting that your team is really interested in. Nobody wants to hear that your goal is to become the first seven-figure annual earner in Alphay in the United States. Who cares? Why do I care about that being your goal? I wouldn't care about that being your goal unless you said, and Brian, here's the thing. In order for me to earn $1 million a year in Alphay here in North America, I need to find 10 people and help them earn a multiple six-figure income, and I want you to be one of them. And I'm going to work with you tirelessly to help you accomplish that goal, because that's going to help me accomplish my goal. So we have a mutual beneficial interest in working together. Well, guys, now that's a different story, right? That's a whole different case and a whole different story that now you've got my attention. So now when we're setting these goals and I realize that this is the Mutual Benefit Society, I'm going to be interested. So if you're not setting goals like that with your people, then you're not very good at it. And that's okay, because now that you're aware of it, you can get better at it. But rate yourself right now today. How good are you 1 to 10 at goal setting? Number two is, how good are you at leading by example? As a leader, you want to build a big team? Well, you got to lead by example. Don't talk to me about recruiting when you don't recruit. Don't talk to me about customer acquisition or coaching or supporting when you don't customer acquire, coach, or support, right? So the thing that you always want to understand is people are always watching you. You're the leader, right? So we're looking at you and we're deciding, we're saying, hey, what you do is what I'm going to do. What you do, good or bad, will duplicate. So I always notice that the people who have the most recruiting in their team are normally the people who are the biggest personal recruiters. The most customer acquisition in their team, normally the people who are the best customer acquirers. The best coaching and support in their team, normally the people who spend the most time coaching and supporting. And all these things are critical towards the success of your business. So really ask yourself. And when it comes to leading by example, could you be better? Could you be better? Guys, if you're being honest, by the way, every single person that's called, there's not one person that would rank themselves a 10 on any of these things, because that would mean you were perfect, right? And that would mean you couldn't grow. And if you can't grow and you're not at the level of income that you want to make, you're in trouble. So there wouldn't be a 10 on any of these. But again, rank yourself 1 to 10. Number three is consistency. This is something that I drill to people across not just Alpha, but across the industry all the time. People always say, man, what's the secret sauce? What's the magic? The magic is consistency. We can teach you all the different things that you're supposed to do. Hey, you're supposed to go out and make a list and expose the people in those lists in a duplicable way, and then follow up with those people, and then sort those people based off their responses, and then those people who decide to get started with you, you go and you show them how to do the same thing. Make a list. So it's list, expose, follow up, sort. List, expose, follow up, sort. But the question is, even once you understand how to do all those things perfectly, you understand how to make and code a list perfectly. You understand the most applicable and absolutely seamless way to expose people properly. You understand how to follow up with those people in the most timely way, and you understand how to sort them quickly and concisely based off of their response. Guys, if you don't do it consistently, it doesn't make a difference. I always tell people, hey, if you just went out and exposed 2 people a day, 5 days a week, and you did that, you'd be a rock star in this business. But that's 2 people a day, not 2 people for a day, right? So it's how consistent are you in your business, to me, it's interesting because we talk to people all the time and they say stuff like, yeah, I'm still building Alpha, but I'm just going to take a month off and sit back and digest things and see how things work out. Well, I can tell you how things are going to work out. Try doing it at your job. Try showing up at your job and you're telling your boss, I'm just going to take a month off and sit back and relax, keep my feet up on the desk and see how things work out. It's going to work out to where you're unemployed. And it's the same way here, except you don't have a boss, so nobody can fire you. But consistency is going to be the secret sauce. Number 4 is vision. And this is big. This is big. What is your vision and how good are you at communicating it? I don't think a lot of people understand this, but one of the things that a person will ask a leader all the time is, what are we doing? What's our goal? Where are we going? And if you say, well, hey man, we're going to the top. You know what I mean? We're going to make big money. We're going to be rich. We're going to hit 5-star Keymaster. Guys, that's weak. That's weak. It's like you're not going to have people coming out of the woodwork to join your team and join your crusade if your vision is we're going to the top. That's weak, guys. You want to talk about the fact that, hey, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to leverage a 50-year-old debt-free billion-dollar company, one that's already created over 300 millionaires in another marketplace and expanding now for the first time into North America, so no one's ever heard of it. We're going to go out there and we're going to get the word out, and we're going to leverage a product that's got thousands of years of testimonials and an infrastructure that the company has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on. And we're going to do all of that to capture 1%, just 1% of the $1 trillion health and wellness industry. Now, in case you're not up on the math really quickly, I'll tell you that 1% of that $1 trillion health and wellness industry is $10 billion. Now, we take $10 billion. That means, by the way, in case you're not up on the math, that's 10,000 million, right? That means we can create hundreds, if not thousands, of millionaires. We can create tens of thousands of six-figure earners and countless amounts of people making a significant part-time, spare-time income. And our plan is simple. We're going to get a couple of thousand people together to represent the foundation, and from there build a team of 100,000 distributors, not just across the country, but across the globe, to go out there and do some incredible things. And I promise you this, when we get there, the people who were a part of that foundational group, they will have achieved legacy defining income. Guys, you tell a vision like that to me, and I'm signing up. You tell a vision like that to anyone, and they're signing up, because it is something that has passion. It is something that has specifics in there. It is something that basically makes a person stretch their reality a little bit, and is something that people want to be part of. So if you're a leader, how good are you at painting vision? Do you even have one? And if you do have one, how good are you at painting that vision, of telling that story that makes a person say, hey, I know why I want to be a part of network marketing now. I know I want to be a part of Alphay, but now I know why I want to be a part of your team. Because I get it, because you are operating in a different level. You are basically forcing the universe to line up and help you accomplish your goals and your dreams, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of your foundational team. How good are you at doing that? So that's another one. 1 to 10, rank yourself. And then finally, philosophies. It all comes down to philosophies. Even if you think you're great at 1 through 4, if you don't have the right philosophies about this business, and you don't have the right philosophies, and you're not teaching the right philosophies, you're going to find yourself struggling in the business. We always talk about this, and some of you have seen this as we've traveled around the country, but we're going to go through this and then we're going to wrap it up. But I can't tell you how many people I've encountered in Alphay and outside of Alphay, but in network marketing, who have just said, Brian, if you just tell me exactly what to do, I'll do it. Just tell me exactly what to do and I'll do it. Let me tell you something. No, you won't. You might do it for a day or a week or maybe even a month, but you won't do it consistently, because you don't have the right philosophies. And the problem with everybody is just saying, just give me the actions and I'll do it, is you're literally starting at the middle of the success chain. The true success chain goes like this. You have the proper philosophies. You develop the right philosophy. Philosophies being what you know and how you hold it. Your true, deeply held beliefs, right? You have those proper philosophies. Those philosophies will ultimately shape your attitudes. Your attitudes will drive your actions. Your actions will ultimately create your results, and your results will ultimately determine your lifestyle, which is what we're all trying to get to, right? This incredible leveraged lifestyle, okay? But you got to have the right philosophies from the very beginning to do that. And here's what I mean. I want to show you guys an example. Here's what I mean. Here's some key philosophies, that I have in network marketing, and they're, I've picked them up from other people, and we've kind of ran with them and developed them. But number one, success is moving from failure to failure with no loss in enthusiasm. That's a powerful philosophy. That's a very difficult thing to do, by the way. You talk to 10 people about Alphay, about your opportunity. All 10 of them say no. It's very difficult when you talk to that 11th person to be just as fired up and excited as you were when you talked to the first person. It's very difficult. But when you can do that, when you can move from failure to failure with no loss in enthusiasm, you're going to have success. I'm always reminded of the stories of, the guy who created the cleaner, Formula 409. People say, how did you get that name, Formula 409? Well, he tried 408 times and failed before he finally got the right formula on the 409th time. So it's Formula 409. I think about the light bulb, and I think about when Edison was developing the light bulb. It took him over 10,000 tries, by the way, to develop the light bulb. But after he had tried it 999 times, and he told one of his best friends he was going for the 1,000th try, his best friend said, why don't you stop? Do you really want to go down in history as the person who failed 1,000 times to create the light bulb. And he said, hey, I haven't failed 1,000 times. I just figured out 1,000 times how to successfully not create a light bulb. Guys, you got to have that mentality of going from failure to failure with no loss in enthusiasm if you want to be successful in network marketing, because you're going to get a lot of no's, but you don't care because you're just looking for the yeses. The other one, size of your paycheck will be determined by the size of the problems that you can solve. Again, the size of your paycheck will be determined by the size of the problems that you can solve. Let me show you something for a second. Guys, most people, when they have a problem in network marketing or in life, they go into the fetal position. They curl up, they start sucking their thumb, and the sky is falling and it's all over. And that's why they fail, not just in this business, but that's why a lot of people fail in life in general, because, they think problems are just barriers that can't be overcome. But imagine for a second if you really believed, okay, you really believe that the size of your paycheck will be determined by the size of the problems that you can solve. If you really believe that and you want to make a lot of money, how do you feel when a big problem comes up? Guess what? You're excited, right? Big problem, solve it equals big money. So your attitude about a big problem now is completely different than most people. You're not sucking your thumb and going to the fetal position. You're getting excited. You're getting jacked up. You're saying, I got to figure this out, because if I can figure this out, my paycheck is going to go up. It's a completely different thought process, right? So your attitude changes. So because your attitude is different about it, because you're excited about it, your actions are completely different. You're in solution mode. You're not sitting around saying, you're right, the website is bad, it's horrible, there's nothing that can be done, the sky is falling. You're saying, man, we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure out what to do about this. We're going to fix this, because if we fix this, right, we fix this one little bump or this one little hiccup, man, we're going to get rich, right? So you're excited about it. So your actions are all solution focused. What do I do to solve the problem? What do I do to solve the problem? And you know what happens if you focus all your actions on solving a problem? You get the results of solving the problem. And you know what happens when you can solve the problem and you can spread that out to the rest of the people in your team, and now you're solution focused and not problem focused? Guys, you have tremendous growth, tremendous success, and you get the lifestyle that you're looking for. That's the difference by just shifting your philosophy, how it changes everything long term. Don't wish it was easier, wish for more skills. One of my favorite philosophies, again, there's nothing in the world that's super duper easy. It's just easy. That's going to pay you tons and tons of money. Okay, so you don't want it to be easier. You want it to be easier for you, which means you just want to have more skills. It can still be hard, but you want to develop more skills so it's easier for you, guys. So those are some key philosophies, but I wanted to finish this with one, because a lot of people have asked me this question recently, which is, what is the number one thing that you're trying to get across to prospects to open them up to the concept of network marketing? Here's the philosophy I want to get across to them. Wealth is achieved through leverage. Once people understand that, network marketing makes far too much sense to ignore. And this was something that I was never taught when I was a kid. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I was taught, like a lot of you, go to school, get good grades, go get a job at a great place, and you're going to be financially successful. It never even occurred to me that the people who were teaching me that, well, they weren't really financially successful, right? I mean, I heard it from my teachers, but they weren't really financially successful. My teachers weren't living my dream lifestyle. I had people that were calling themselves mentoring me when I was younger, but they weren't living my dream lifestyle, and they were all telling me the same thing. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job. But here's the thing, that's all they knew. One of the things I learned when I got involved in this industry, though, was that wealth was created and achieved through leverage. It wasn't until I completely embraced this concept of having hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people or more who were actually contributing to my household financial bottom line every single day. That was where true wealth came from. I mean, think about it for a moment, guys. If you had 10,000 people on your team who were going out and working just a half hour a day, 30 minutes on their Alphay business, and you were getting paid a piece of their efforts, guys, that would mean that you were being compensated for 5,000 hours a day. There's only 24 hours in a day, but you figured out a way to be compensated for 5,000 hours a day. And guess what? Even if you were only getting 10 cents an hour, just 10 cents an hour, right? Guys, that's still $500 an hour. $500 an hour, or a day, I should say. $500 a day, right? So that's $500 a day. 7 days a week, $3,500 a week, $14,000 a month. Are you starting to follow me? Where this leverage concept comes in, that is just unbelievable. And here's the reality: if you just got good at communicating that message to brand new prospects, right? Before you tried to beat them over the head about Alphay and about anything else, you just got good at communicating the message that wealth is achieved through leverage, freedom is achieved through leverage, success is achieved through leverage. You would find that people would become a lot more open to what it is that we were doing here. So, guys, I just wanted to go through this with you, and really talk about this whole concept of the U factor. And again, I wanted to condense it there. I mean, obviously, we could spend hours on that training, but we're not going to on this call. But for the people who really get that, for the people who really kind of come away from this changing your thought process and saying, and hey man, I'm going to start working on the U factor, I'm going to start improving my skills and improving my mindset, you guys are going to have rock star success this year in this company. Here's what I will tell you right now: we are 100% committed as a company to do what we've been doing. We're going to continue to improve user interfaces for both the customer side and for the distributor side. We're going to improve the back office. We're going to constantly add new product lines to this situation. We're going to always look at are there better tools that we can, everything. I mean, we're never going to be satisfied. We're going to constantly improve everything, come up with better incentives for you, create new recognition platforms, go out there and enhance the compensation plan always, and the comp plan, again, the comp plan incentives and the contest that we put together. But we're going to do all of that, and I'm telling you right now, none of that is going to make a difference if you're not going to commit to doing that one thing, which is working on the U factor. So listen, guys, we went through a lot today, but we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule. Appreciate every single effort that you guys have put into building your Alphay business and helping the chairman achieve his goal of really spreading the word about the power of medicinal mushrooms and the greatness of this company called Alphay across North America. We definitely appreciate that from every single one of you. Go check out the new website. It's awesome. Only going to get better. Start focusing on really doing the things that improve you and building your business. And as you go out there and you have incredible success, we're going to look forward to recognizing you for that success at future Alphay events. So thanks so much for your time, guys. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and looking forward to seeing you at our next Alphay event. Thanks again, and good night.